Hi, everybody. I'm Suze Orman, and what you are about to see are interviews with women who have survived abusive relationships. They are intimate, they are personal, and they are life-transforming. Watch and learn. So, Shaundre, tell me, why did you want to do this? Why are you here?
I am here to let other women know that what they're going through is not okay. It is not acceptable, but if they believe in themselves and believe that there's better for them, that they can get out of the situation that they're in, they can make a better life for themselves, and they don't have to have a man to depend on for financial independence.
So tell me and tell us your story as to how you went from wherever you were to where you are right now with this mission statement that you just gave us all.
So I was originally living in Ohio. I owned a home there. I was raising my son there. I was an Avon representative, and I was missing the companionship. So.
And how old were you at that time?
I was about 27, 28 years old. So, you know, the gentleman that I married, he and I grew up together. We went to the same church together, so we've known each other most of our lives, and we were good friends for a number of years. There were some red flags, but the thing is about the red flags, I contributed to maybe I was reading too much into the flags, or maybe...
Like what kind of red flags?
The red flags that I would see had to do with the budgeting around the marriage. So prior to us actually getting married, there really weren't a lot of red flags.
Because the money was separate.
The money was completely separate. So I put together a budget for the wedding. During the course of that, everything was fine. We had opened up a joint account, and we were both contributing a set amount of money into the account so that we can cover that budget expense. Well, one day he called me and he tells me, oh, I need to cut back the allotment that I'm putting into the account because, you know, we're gonna have to get off-post housing until you move down to Kansas. Then, you know, once they see we're married with another dependent, we can get housing on post. So I agreed, it seemed legit to me. And he was supposed to stop the allotment for 2 months. Well, 2 months turned into 5 months and so on and so forth. So now we're getting closer to the wedding, and I'm starting to panic because we have not yet hit that targeted budgeted number. So at the last minute, family and friends were able to help us out, and the wedding went off without a hitch. Then the honeymoon took place, and we're on the road going to Miami, and he was buying gifts and souvenirs, and, you know, we were stopping to eat, and, you know, I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe he didn't put the allotment to the side, but maybe he saved that money so that we can really enjoy the honeymoon. Until we finally hit the border of Florida, and he tells me that his card that he had, his credit card, was maxed out, and he did not have any cash money at the next gas stop. And I asked him, I said, oh, but you've been buying stuff on the road the whole time. You know, what happened to the money? And he said, oh, I've been going in your purse, in your wallet, and spending that money. Because in his mind, when you become married, it's all the same money. But he never consulted me to let me know that that's what he was doing. And so I was very upset, but I did not really know what to do. We're in Florida, we've driven all the way from Ohio. The cruise is already paid for. We just go ahead and just get on the boat and try to enjoy the honeymoon. So when we get on the boat, cruises are cashless, and you have to register a credit card. Because we booked the cruise prior to getting married, we both registered separate credit cards. So he gets on the boat, and he has his credit card that he registered, and he's swiping away, buying short excursions, things in the gift shops for relatives and friends, you know. And I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe this credit card that he has, you know, has money on it. Until about day 2 or 3 into the cruise, and we start getting notices under the door saying that he needed to go to customer service to talk about his ship and sell account. Well, long story short, the card that he registered was also maxed out prior to us getting on the boat. And they told him that if the account was not paid off before we got off the boat, we would be detained for international financial fraud. And not just him. We would collectively be detained because we're both in the same cabin, even though all of my purchases on my card, all the transactions went through. So I had to pay for not only the transactions that I made, but the transactions that he made as well. So $1,459 later, we're finally able to get off the boat. Safe, sound, no charges, everything's free and clear. So I thought that would be the end of this financial disaster. I'm like, okay, it's the beginning. Maybe we just hit a rough patch. So my son and I joined him by moving on post to Kansas from Ohio. And at the time, I didn't have a job. And he was the primary breadwinner for the home. And then the bottom fell out all over again. Well, when he would get paid, all of a sudden at 8 o'clock, your deposit hits. At 8:15, you're broke. Your account's in the negative. And I could not figure out for the life of me, where is your money going? Again, being that he was a primary breadwinner, I was dependent on him for gas and, food for the house and for bills, which kind of made me feel childlike,
I was just going to ask, I have to say, here you are, this incredibly independent woman when you're living by yourself. You bought your own home, you're a mother, totally independent, and now you're having to ask your husband for grocery money.
Exactly.
No way did that feel good, right?
It did not. It was very depressing, because my mother always taught us to always make purchases and make decisions based off of, even if you're with a secondary person, whether it's a spouse, a friend, significant other, when you're buying a home or renting a home or buying a car, the question is, can you afford that payment if something was to happen and that person was to leave or to pass on? Can you afford it on your own?
Now you're being like a little Suze Orman here.
That's right.
Girlfriend, keep going.
All right. So the fact that I'm feeling empowered while I'm in Ohio versus having to be embarrassed because you're with your spouse and you have a cart full of groceries for the car to decline every time. There were times where we would go to the gas station and he was going to fill up my tank and the car would decline because his account was already overdrawn. And I just couldn't believe it. And I'm just like, well, you just got paid. Like, what bills have you paid? We have so many things we have to take care of. So it was very difficult, to get a norm while I was in Kansas.
What did he do with all of that money?
To this day, I still do not know. But when I seen that, things were not getting better financially, I've sat down, I've tried talking to him, I did another budget with him, maybe.
Do you just find that the most amazing thing, that after all this, you're still thinking, maybe this could work out?
Yes.
Is that amazing?
Yes.
What do you think that's about? What is that about in all of us?
I don't know.
Women, what are we doing here? Anyway, go on.
I think it's comfort.
Yeah.
But at the same time, comfort is not always comfortable. And it was a very uncomfortable marriage.
So, Shaundre, what made you stay?
Well, the fact that we were married. All I kept saying was, I know it's rough now, but it has to get better. And a lot of times people were telling me, financial reasons is one of the main causes for divorces. And I took my vows very seriously. And I'm like, there has to be a way we can get through this. We have to be able to get through this together. Maybe he's just not good with money. Maybe if we can take a class, maybe if he can talk to other people to see that, if you can get yourself on a budget, if you can look at all your bills and try to pay them off one by one.
So you were trying to save him while you were absolutely destroying yourself.
Exactly. Because I have a helping nature to myself. And I just felt like I needed to help him understand that we can get through this. It can be better. But instead of helping, I was actually causing it to get worse. Yeah. And I didn't realize it until I finally was able to get out of the situation.
So for all the women that are watching this right now, and there's so many millions of them out there that are in this exact same situation. Sometimes I think when women hear about an abusive relationship, they don't think about the finances of it. They think about it's physically abusive. They're yelling at me. They're verbally yelling. What they're not getting is that financial abuse is probably one of the biggest abuses out there, and everything is rooted in that. So if they're watching this, what would you tell them if they're saying to themselves, but I took vows, I can change him, I can do this? What would you tell them now? knowing what you know now?
You can't change anyone. They have to be willing to want to change themselves. And you can help a person, but there's a difference between helping and prolonging the inevitable. The inevitable was, it was not gonna get better. No matter how much I talked to him, no matter how much money I tried to put to the side, it was not gonna get better. And then when I could see my son was starting to go without, that's when I started seeing this is abusive in nature.
How are you supporting yourself?
Well, I didn't have a job. What I did still have, though, was my Avon business. It was my saving grace. What I would do was I would go and make deposits into an account, which was the Armed Forces account. Now, the thing with the Armed Forces account is you either have to have a military, active duty military attached to the account, or be getting a military allotment into the account. So I didn't think anything of it. Here's my husband. Let's go ahead and let's get him active on the account so that I can make deposits into the account.
That money didn't stay in that account for long.
It sure didn't.
Yeah, he took it, right?
Because he would go in and he would take money out. And I was just thinking, I'm asking you for money, you don't have it. I'm making my own money and you're taking it. Something has to give. So while I was selling Avon, I started making baskets. And soldiers would come up and they would order baskets. So they would have me make a basket and ship it to their wives, mothers, daughters, etc. While I was in the post office one day, I saw they had P.O. boxes.
Oh.
And I said, okay. I opened up a P.O. box. And I didn't know at the time why I needed to open this P.O. box, but something was encouraging me, open that P.O. box. So another month goes by and the P.O. box is open. Nothing's going to it, but I have this P.O. box address. So we continue on, still having financial issues. And once I noticed that he was taking money out of my Armed Forces account, something clicked one day when I went to go buy baskets. Where we were stationed, we were about an hour away from Missouri. When I was driving there one afternoon, I noticed that there was a bank that I was familiar with that we also had in Ohio. I went to that bank and I opened up an account. And they said, well, do you have an address, a local address? And sure enough, I had that P.O. box address because I was thinking, oh my God, I don't want him to think I'm trying to go behind his back and have money, and we have all these bills piling up. But something inside kept saying, just open the account, just open the account. So I opened the account. And then what I started doing to be able to make the deposits, because of course he would wonder, why am I not making deposits into the Armed Forces account? So I'd make smaller transactions into the Armed Forces account. And I would tell him, oh, business was slow. When in fact, what I was doing was taking the money and going and trading it in for larger bills. The money became, this is my only way out money.
So this is very important, what you're saying right now. Money was your only way out.
Right.
So it's important, everybody, right? It's so important that women understand that money is their key to freedom, not just from an abusive relationship, but in every aspect of their life, every aspect of their life. So you were able to finally leave.
I was, finally.
And was that just it? Did he just disappear from your life?
For the most part, he did. There was very little communication shortly after I left. And then there was no communication.
I have to ask you, did you ever think that you were a financially abused woman?
Honestly, I did not. I did not realize that it was financial abuse to actually just recently.
What happened that made you realize it? Because I think what's so important about that is that women are in this situation all the time.
Yeah.
Their spouse is constantly financially abusing them, and they just let it happen.
Right.
What made you realize it?
Speaking with other ladies that had gone through it, and then the light bulb starting to come on like, oh my God, I went through the same thing. And that's abuse too.
So you left, you made it, and you're making it to this day.
That's right. That's right.
And your son now, is he doing great?
He is doing wonderful. He is 16, he's in high school. You know, he has plans for the future. He wants to be active duty military as well. You know, and I mean, we're just living a beautiful life. We vacation together. I'm teaching him financial security just because I don't want to see him where he has to be dependent on someone. Or I want to see him understand that you can do it on your own, but you have to know the ropes in order to get yourself where you need to be.
And those ropes are ones that you can climb all the way up to any goal that you want.
That's right, sky's the limit.
Girlfriend, you did it. Yeah.